My people, what we are hearing now is very serious, and I want you to pay attention because this one concerns not only Kwara State, but the whole country. Please, before we go deep, quickly like this video and subscribe so you can always get updates anytime things like this happen. Just press that like button now. It helps a lot. So the news coming out from Quir North is that suspected bandits attacked police officers who were moving along the Pati-Gilead axis. The report is that 2 officers were on that route, but unfortunately they fell into an ambush. One of them was captured by the attackers, while the second officer managed to escape with his life. That officer who ran is the reason the news came out so fast, because he went back to raise alarm. This is the latest development shaking the community in Patigi and surrounding areas. Now remember to subscribe as we continue, because I will also explain how this type of thing has been happening again and again in that region. The officer who was abducted has been identified in some reports as an indigene of the community, a man who many locals know by name. Imagine the pain his family and his colleagues are facing right now. It is one thing for ordinary citizens to be kidnapped, but when police officers themselves are targeted, it shows how bold these criminal groups have become. That is why people are worried, because if bandits can take police, then what is the situation for farmers, traders, travelers, and children who go to school by road every day? Please, pause for 1 second, press like on this video, and let's continue together. Now, let us talk about the area where this happened. Patigi local government area is in Kwara North. It is an agrarian zone, meaning people there depend on farming, fishing, and trading. The roads connecting these towns are very long, some are in bad condition, and that has been making travel risky. The Pati-Gilead Road is not just any small street. It is one of the main routes linking communities, but the problem is that it is isolated. When you are driving or riding there, sometimes for minutes or even an hour, you don't see many people or checkpoints. This gives criminals an advantage. They can lay ambush, strike quickly, and escape without being caught. That is exactly what happened to the policeman. Now you may be asking, why is this type of thing happening more in Kwara North? Well, in recent months, Patigi and the neighboring local governments like Edu have seen repeated attacks. Villages have been invaded, kidnappings have been reported, and even pastors have been targeted. There was a case not long ago where a pastor was taken and later killed after ransom talks broke down. So this abduction of a police officer is just one in a line of many serious incidents. This is becoming a pattern. Please, if you are following me and you like the way I am breaking it down for you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe now. It helps this gist reach more people and it keeps you updated. Let us also think about the human angle. This abducted officer is not just a uniform. He is someone's husband, father, son, and colleague. Imagine the trauma of his colleague who escaped. You are riding with your friend. Suddenly attackers surround you. You run for your life, but you look back and realize your partner is gone. That pain is heavy and it will affect morale. This is why attacks like this are not just physical, but also psychological. They reduce confidence in the security system. Officers now move around with fear, and communities start to lose trust in those meant to protect them. What has been the response so far? Normally, when such events happen, the security agencies announce operations. Sometimes you hear about airstrikes, about reinforcement, about ground patrols. In fact, not long ago, Kwara State government spoke about increased military action against criminals in that same zone. But here is the problem. These actions often come like quick bursts, then they reduce, and criminals find their way back. People are now calling for sustained security operations, not just temporary measures. What do you think? Should government focus more on long-term road repairs, community policing, or more military action? Drop your opinion in the comments. And don't forget, please subscribe to this channel for more balanced updates. Now let's talk about why this problem is persisting. There are a few reasons. 1, the geography. Those long, lonely roads with bush paths are perfect for ambush. 2, limited security presence. The officers are few, the territory is large. 3. Criminal groups are very mobile, often using motorcycles, and they know the land better than anyone. 4. Poverty and joblessness. Some of the people drawn into these groups are desperate youths who see no other option. And 5. Weak legal follow-up. Sometimes even when suspects are caught, cases drag on and they come back into society to continue. This is why the problem feels like it is not ending. Please like the video if you agree this is an issue we must solve together. Communities too are not keeping quiet. Hunters, vigilantes, and local groups have been stepping up to defend villages. Some of them even work hand in hand with official security, sharing intelligence. But we must also note that while vigilantes help, they are not trained like police or army, and sometimes they face heavy risks themselves. What they need is support, training, and coordination. Without that, they can be overwhelmed. The big question is this: how safe are ordinary people right now? The truth is, if bandits can take a police officer, then ordinary travelers need to be extra careful. If you are traveling in or through Quir North, avoid night journeys, move in groups or convoys, and always inform someone of your route. Farmers and traders need to coordinate market trips in groups, not alone. It's about being practical and staying safe while waiting for stronger solutions from government. This incident also raises national concerns. It puts pressure on leaders at both state and federal level. Citizens are asking, if this can happen to police, then what about the rest of us? Politicians will now have to answer tough questions about funding security, finishing road projects like the Shah-Patigi route, and supporting community development. Because without infrastructure, without jobs, and without serious legal consequences, this circle will continue. So to summarize, bandits ambushed 2 policemen in Quara North. One was abducted and one escaped. The location is a known hotspot where criminals have been active, and this is part of a larger pattern of insecurity. Government must act, but communities also need better support. At the end of the day, safety is a collective effort. Before I round up, let me remind you again, if you have not yet liked this video, please do so now. It is very important, and also subscribe so you can get notified immediately when I drop the next update. Share this gist with your friends and family. Let them be aware of what is happening in Quir North, because awareness is part of security too. Our thoughts go out to the officer who was taken and his family, and to the people of Patigi and Quir North who have been facing this insecurity. We hope for his safe return and for stronger action that will make our roads and communities safe again. Now let's talk about how these groups, the bandits, actually operate. They don't always move in very large numbers. Most times they move in groups of maybe 10, 20, sometimes more, depending on the target. Many of them ride motorcycles and they are armed with rifles and sometimes charms. They use the advantage of the bush paths to disappear after striking. It is not like they stay in one place permanently. They move around, sometimes between states, sometimes between local government areas. And that makes it hard for security to pin them down. So when they hit on a road like Patigilade, before soldiers or police can respond, they are already gone into the forest or across the river. This is one of the tactics they use, and that is why communities always live in fear. Please, if this explanation is making sense to you, kindly press like and drop a comment below. Another thing is how they choose targets. Sometimes it is travelers in buses, sometimes farmers on their way to the farm, and sometimes even people coming from markets with goods. In this case, it was policemen. Why policemen? Because attacking security agents sends a strong message. It shows they are fearless, and it spreads fear among ordinary citizens. It is not that they are more powerful than the state, but they exploit weak points, and the road network is a big weak point in Quir North. This is why people keep saying the Shapatigi Road project should have been completed long ago. If the road is better, if travel is faster, if there are checkpoints at intervals, it reduces the opportunity for criminals. Now, let me also bring in the issue of community reaction. You see, in many parts of Quara North, the people have been taking matters into their own hands. Vigilante groups, hunters, and even youth groups have been trying to defend their areas. Sometimes they go on patrols at night, sometimes they organize to escort farmers to their farms. But the risk is high because the bandits often have superior weapons. So while communities are doing their best, they are calling on government for more support. And this is where the balance comes in. Yes, local efforts are important, but they cannot replace a professional, well-equipped police and army presence. Please, if you believe government needs to do more, press that like button now, because that's the truth. Security is the duty of the state. Let us also think about the economy of the area. Farming is the main source of income for many in Patigi and Edu. When bandit attacks increase, farmers are afraid to go to the farm, traders are afraid to take goods to the market, fishermen are scared to go near the rivers at odd hours. All this reduces income, increases poverty, and makes life harder. This is exactly how insecurity spreads into poverty and then into more crime. Because when youths see no hope, they can be lured into joining these gangs. It becomes a cycle. And breaking this cycle requires not just guns and soldiers, but also jobs, schools, and hope. Another angle we must not forget is the psychology of fear. Once people hear that even police can be kidnapped, fear spreads like wildfire. Parents start restricting their children, traders start canceling journeys, and communities become tense. Fear itself is a weapon that these groups use. They don't always need to attack every day. Sometimes the fear alone weakens the society. And that is why public communication, showing visible action, and reassuring citizens is very important. People want to see soldiers on the roads. They want to see checkpoints. They want to hear that operations are working because that calms the mind. Now, what can government actually do? There are short-term and long-term solutions. Short-term, more patrols, more checkpoints, rapid response when incidents happen. For example, if there were quick response units stationed along Patigiladi, maybe the abducted officer could have been rescued faster. Long-term, road completion, road lighting, better communication networks so people can call for help, youth employment programs, and proper prosecution of suspects so that justice is seen. Without justice, impunity grows. Please don't forget to subscribe now because I will continue to break down these solutions and explain how they can work in other states too. I also want to touch on how people in other parts of Nigeria should pay attention to this. Today, it is Quara North. Tomorrow, it could be another region. Banditry has already spread across many parts of the Northwest and North Central. So it is a national issue, not a local one. When one area is left unattended, it becomes a safe haven, and criminals spread from there. This is why national cooperation is needed. And finally, let us remember the victim himself, the abducted officer. His family is waiting, his colleagues are worried, and the community is anxious. We must not forget the human story in the middle of all this. We can only hope and pray that he is rescued safely and soon. And while we pray, we must also demand accountability from those in power. My people, that is the update so far. Please, if you are still watching, kindly like this video right now and subscribe because I will keep monitoring this story. The moment there is new information, whether the officer is rescued or government makes a major move, I will come here to give you the gist in full.